common question that clients ask us is, should I provide a breath sample? What happens when the police suspect or feel that you're impaired driving, they're going to demand a breath sample. They might demand a roadside breath sample, that's the screening test, or they might also provide a breath demand for the police station, that's the intoxilizer test. This is a very loaded question, but for most situations, in fact, I would give advice all situations, unless you're an expert in impaired driving, and I'll explain what I mean by this, you should absolutely always provide the breath sample. If you refuse or fail to comply with a breath sample at the roadside or at the police station, the police are going to charge you with that crime, that is, failing to provide a breath sample or failing to comply. And the penalty is actually a $2,000 fine for a first offense, a criminal conviction, and 1-year license prohibition, which is very similar, if not it's actually identical to the penalties for impaired driving. In fact, the $2,000 fine in certain situations is higher. Now, what do I mean by if you're an expert? Well, there are some very narrow exceptions to this. Sometimes it pays to refuse. But the only person who would know that if you're an absolute expert in impaired driving, if a situation arose where, oh boy, the police officer's done something wrong, I know this is being videotaped, for example, in the breath room, I know that I can refuse this and win this case. The only people who are going to know that are lawyers who specialize in impaired driving. So for the layperson, anyone, unless you're an absolute expert, always provide a breath sample. And even 99% of situations where a lawyer is charged who specializes, they're going to provide the breath sample because that narrow exception is probably not going to arise. So be very careful in this situation. Comply with the demand, absolutely, because there's more defenses typically when you provide the sample and you blow over that can create defenses which you could potentially win on. So that's the short answer to whether you should provide a breath sample at the roadside or at the police station.